Under 5-minute TED Talks.
First of all, what is a TED Talk? Well, a TED Talk is a short, planned public speech. And a public speech is an essential element of language, one that we use every day. A speech is a formal address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade, inspire, or inform. Spoken language is a powerful tool that, in the right or wrong hands, can and has changed the world. TED Talks are also delivered without notes. Standing up, alone, and on stage. But what is a great TED Talk? It's a great story shared with authenticity. Yeah, that's more like it. And with passion, by using emotions and humor. So, why TED Talks? Because, as we said before, TED Talks are public speeches and they can be terrifying. There is always anxiety and nerves. Your stomach can be turned in knots. You may not sleep the night before. You can freeze or go blank in front of your audience. Did you know that making a presentation is the number one fear reported by people in the US? This is a reason why it is important to teach public speaking skills, because many times, and especially as future teachers, one has to speak in front of people, students, teenagers, colleagues, parents, etc. And why short? We believe it's important to be concise, direct, and unconfusing. And actually, to summarize and keep to the point can be even more difficult than speaking in public. These days, there is a high value on micro-content as a primary form of communication. We don't have the time for redundancy. When we speak, we should want each word to have value. Just as minimalists strip something to its essentials so as to make it appear. Less is more when you want to speak powerfully and connect with people. It's more effective in getting meaning over, and it helps to keep your audience's attention.
Hello. Some people think that there's a TED Talk recipe, like give a talk on a red round carpet, share a story, end with an inspiring call to action. But no, TED Talks are much more than that. So, let's have a look at our analysis. We will start with a rhetorical situation. TED Talks are virtual public spheres. They are posted online for free, so anyone can have access. And it's not even necessary to speak English, because they come with over 100 subtitles. So, we can say that the intended audience is everyone in the whole world. But one of its constraints is that you do have to have access to internet. TED Talks have many purposes. They seek to educate, entertain, and inspire, but also to challenge and to be thought-provoking. Though the ultimate mission is to share an idea. Obviously, an idea worth sharing. TED Talks are normally delivered in highly polished, succinct speeches by very intelligent, informed, charismatic, and network-friendly people. This means that not anyone can talk at TED Talks. Attendees have to request an invitation, and then they are pre-screened to be accepted. They have to have a pretty good knowledge of math, medicine, architecture, economics, education, literature, or politics. This explains why those who attend TED Talks are highly educated and top of their fields.
We also found out about the history of TED Talks. TED started off as a conference about technology, entertainment, and design in 1984, more than 30 years ago. But the event lost money, and it was only 6 years later that the organizers tried again. This time, in 1990, the numbers worked, and TED became an annual event in California. Back then, TED was an invitation-only event and very exclusive. For many attendees, TED became one of the intellectual and emotional highlights of the year. In 2001, TED turned into a non-profit organization devoted to spreading ideas and the principles they stood by made TED great. One of its major additions was an audio and video podcast series called TED Talks, in which the best TED content was released online, giving a global audience free access to some of the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, and teachers.
Professor!
Oh, hi, Fernanda.
Hi, could you please explain me a bit more about the registering under 5-minute TED Talks?
Yeah, of course. Well, as you may remember, we mentioned that Holiday Hassan stated that the concept of register is related to field, tenor, and mode. The field in under 5-minute TED Talks is given by the expert, in this case, the spokesperson, the person who gives the speech. It can be educational, scientific, technologic, and inspirational. On the other hand, the mode, of course, is always oral. This is an oral speech. But at the same time, they present presentations, powerful presentations, images, so it becomes multimodal. Meanwhile, the tenor in TED Talks defines a formal and specialized register.
And what about the norms of interaction?
Oh, the norms of interaction. Well, that's what we usually call expectations. In a TED Talk, we are expecting a talk, right? So the orator is expected to deliver a meaningful and hopefully inspiring message. During this talk, the orator has to stay within a red carpet and standing upon it. From the audience, it is expected to be sitting down, interested, and attentively listening to the talk. Above that, the discourse is supposed to be educated and grammatically correct, of course. There is also a conventional idea of a dress code. You should avoid provocative clothes because you have to remember that the audience must be paying attention to the talk and not to you.
What about the tone, Professor?
Oh, the tone. Well, that is also very important. It refers to the way in which a message is delivered. So it creates the attitude of your message. And TED Talks, being consequent with the purpose to inspire and inform, they are mainly presented in an enthusiastic, persuasive, and informative tone. But at the same time, as another of its purposes is to entertain the audience, many times we can appreciate a tone of humor from the presenters. Are we clear?
Yes, Professor, much more clear now.
Well, see you in class.
Thank you.
Hi, we're going to give you some tips on how to give a great under 5-minute TED Talk. First of all, you have to prepare your talk. It cannot be improvised. A good talk always has a strong message, so ask yourself, what is the idea you want to transmit? And though you may have many great ideas, you have to stick with one, a clear and main idea.
Identify your audience. As you know, in TED Talks, the audience can be anyone. There is a huge diversity in age, gender, race, religion, and knowledge. If you want your message to be effective, you shouldn't make people feel offended or angry. So be careful with possible biases or stereotypes. To help your audience understand, you should keep the language simple. Use short sentences they pass on as honest and direct. Plus, they have power, and try not to over-occupy the jargon of your field.
Now you have to build your script. Don't forget about the rhetorical organization. So first, start with the introduction. Try to use a fun fact, a story, numbers, or a quote to engage your audience. Then, construct the body with the things you absolutely want to say. Maximum 3. These are the guiding steps of your speech. And finally, the conclusion. It's got to be brief, to the point, and leave the audience with something to think about.
Now that your talk is written, you should start rehearsing. This is really important because if you don't want to get nervous, freeze, panic, forget your lines, or start using unnecessary fillers, you have to practice and practice and practice some more. You can practice in front of a mirror, in front of your family, or even in the shower. Practice until your speech sounds perfect.
And now that you have the most wonderful and inspiring speech, it's time to go on stage. First of all, take a deep breath and try and relax. Remember that, though your message is always the most important part of your speech, the semiotic modes and suprasegmental features can also affect your audience. These include your voice, volume, posture, gestures, movements, and also your clothes. Movement in TED Talks is restricted to the carpet, so most of your body language will be through posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Try not to be over-expressive, but focus on making movements and gestures purposeful. Don't forget that your body speaks not only through words. So stand up straight with your head up and feet anchored, face your audience, smile, and look people in the eye. This is really important because if you make eye contact with your listeners, it helps you to connect. Dressing plays an essential role too, so do not overdress and try not to wear revealing clothes. You don't want to attract the attention for all the wrong reasons. And though you're not required a tie, don't appear too casual. Just dress cleanly, neatly, and professionally. It will help you improve the visual delivery of your speech. But speech is also about sound. Volume, pitch, rhythm, and speed are like the musical aspects of your speech. Volume is very important, so try not to shout. First of all, because volume does not increase the validity of your argument, and secondly, because all speakers have a microphone. Pay attention on the rhythm of your speech. Rhythm helps deliver the message and makes your speech more memorable. Imagine a speech with no rhythm in it. The audience would probably tune out or fall asleep. If you're nervous, you might start talking too fast. This increases the chances that you'll trip over words. So force yourself to slow down, so as to sound confident, natural, and authentic. And finally, through the rising and the falling of your voice, or by lengthening certain sounds, you can also communicate emotions and feelings. So don't forget about the pitch.
Well, with these tips, you're now ready to present an excellent short TED Talk and actually any public speech. So good luck! And if you want to look for more information, click on these videos.